On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. DeSantis is just doing a good job. That's why he's getting the featured spot today. He is. He's in the middle of it. Literally in the middle of it. He's been hit on 2 of these storms, certainly other places as well. I'm not trying to minimize anybody that's out there right now. It's hard to assess how bad the damage is thus far. I'm hoping okay. I've heard from some of my friends out there, but I know they're not speaking for everybody. So my heart and prayers still at this point go out to all my beautiful people out in Florida. And I wish and pray for you guys right now. And thank God you've actually got DeSantis that's trying to work through this with you and help you guys. And hopefully we'll make progress there. We've got some just wonderful evidence of Biden just kind of retarded in that forgetting he said things already. We're going to play a little of him, and then I'm going to try to skip to where like Gutfeld and them sort of tear into him a little bit. This whole blame game that they're doing right now is an interesting approach. And so this is what they're doing. It is an information warfare. So what we're doing is trying to bring information, what they call misinformation. Let's just call it that. And then again, they're protecting democracy, which is mob rules. So just to understand the way the game's going to be played from their side of the fence. Who cares, though? We have more people on our side of the fence. We have more people talking on our side of the fence. I'm going to be sharing some of that. General Flynn got a piece from him today. Donald Trump, stuff from him today. Got a lot of great stuff. Let's get into it. Again, so much happening. It's just a trip how fast things are moving. And by the way, to me, it indicates that we're actually further along than it's evidence of it to me. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to get too far out of my on this limb here, if you will. I feel the cracking, but we're getting. It's picking up the pace, and I think most people can feel it now. I hope, because it seems like it's prevalent, and that's what was important to me is the fact that I think people are feeling it as well. Not that it's that I'm feeling it. Of course, I'm feeling it, but people are feeling it too. That's huge. That's huge. And I know a lot of you guys are for sure. And so, folks, we're in the midst. The storm, really, I think, from our standpoint, because we're ahead of the curve a little bit, leading edge, the storm is happening. No pun intended for the poor people that have been through 2 gnarly hurricanes and more coming, by the way. But we are in the storm. I think Trump, when he officially says it, I think that's when the common people. It's going to be a big moment. Anyway, starting off here because it's just damn funny and it's well put. Kamala. This is a little turtle. For those who can't see the screen, it's a turtle sitting on top of a wood post, if you will. She didn't get there by herself. She doesn't belong there. She doesn't know what to do there. She was elevated beyond her ability to function. So who's the dumbass that put her there? That's kind of the, $60 million question or whatever. I don't know why I feel like that's the number. Right? Was it $50 million man, the $1 million quote, $100 million, 100,000? I don't even remember the stupid game show, right? The Pyramid, I think it was, something dumb like that, whatever. General Mike Flynn put this out. Time for a sense of humor. Check troops. With the plains of the Tetons on fire, the mountains of North Carolina destroyed by a hurricane, the Gulf Coast of Florida about to reel in an historical surge of ocean water, the forests in Oregon burning, 2 wars waging in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, a censorship war on free speech, an upcoming BRICS summit to shift the global economic system away from the U.S. dollar, along with both fake and real declared pandemics, throw in some stolen valor along with stolen elections, the globalists are pulling out all the stops. Don't worry, we have them right where we want them. And oh yeah, the real storm is coming. 100%. Another just hilariously funny. Donald Trump Jr. put this out. So Linus and Lucy, the standard holding the football. Like, how many times did Charlie Brown fall for that? I don't know. Way too many, right? Like, it was ridiculous how many times he did that. And it's a picture of Linus and Lucy, except this time Lucy's got Kamala's face on it. Elect me again, and I promise I'll fix the economy this time. Come on. Come on. Kick the ball. Kick the ball, you stupid people. Kick it. Another interesting thing that's happening. The Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive, a thing that's supposed to be impossible to remove stuff from, which has had stuff removed from it before. Well, apparently someone tried to go to a site, a particular site, I think, Have you ever felt like the Internet Archive runs on sticks and is constantly on the verge of suffering a catastrophic security breach? It just happened. See 31 million of you on H1BP, HIBP. This is web.archive.org, the Wayback Machine, as we commonly call it. Seems to have been hacked, from what we understand. The Internet Archive under attack, breach revealing info for 31 million accounts, which I'm curious about what kind of info they actually have access to on the Wayback Machine. Probably when they say info, I would assume old postings. So it seems like who else would do this? I mean, unless they delete stuff from there, which is very possible. So if stuff deletes, pretty sure it's a dark hat thing, right? If stuff isn't deleted, but is now leaked or shown, well, that would be different. I think this is actually a black hat attempt at removing a bunch of information because they're getting close to the needing to have a blackout of some kind. And so they're already trying to get rid of the archive stuff because this is all the stuff where they keep lying about what they've done. And there's posts of them doing it. And we all say the internet's forever. So again, I'm very curious to see what's actually going on. But the archive.web.whatever org was under attack big time. Oh, this is just incredible. So this is a picture of my first girlfriend. This is on a first date we had. And it didn't, she was a little upset with me. No, it's not, but I'm joking, kind of, sort of. This is actually a lady that was involved, got busted by the Border Patrol in child trafficking. Child trafficking. This lady was busted for child trafficking. I'm going to play this because you need to see what some of the people that are child traffickers, you need to see them in their true form, in true color, because that gut field, the little thing she's got going on her nose. Greg Gutfeld's got that little thing in his nose. I think it's from squinking too much or whatever, right? But she's got that, right? So some would call that a beauty mark. Others, I don't know, but you can see she's obviously got that look of love in her eyes, right? Look of love. She loves people. I'm being sarcastic. Come on, be mean. Don't be mean. But here's what I've been building up to.
Okay, put your feet in.
Man, put your feet in so we can close the doors.
Okay. I'm just going to close the door. You stay right there before we move. Hey, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Back up. Back up. Hold on. Hey, get your foot back in there. Get your foot back in there. Get your foot back in there. Ma'am.
Ma'am, we're going to have to tase you. You're not going to like that.
I don't understand what you're telling me.
Put your feet back in there. Bro. We're going to have to...
I don't know if I ever saw this Girls Gone Wild episode, though. I missed this one, I think. I know, Lord knows I wanted the DVD set, and that would have been wonderful. God, it reminds me of that first girl. I miss you so much, honey. Oh, God, that love in your eyes. Holy shizzle. Good God almighty. FBI creates fake token to catch 18 people and companies involved in a crypto fraud. Kind of interesting. I think this is cool they're doing this, or interesting nonetheless. But the U.S. government indicted 18 individuals and companies for fraud and market manipulation in the crypto industry. Not sure if this is legit or not, too legit to quit or not, but charges were unsealed in Boston, targeting leaders from 4 cryptocurrency firms and 4 financial service companies known as market makers. What this sounds like to me is they kind of approached some people with a fake thing that they could do to sort of make a bunch of money and do kind of like what Sam Bankman-Fried did and see if anyone kind of bought into it. And it sounds like 4 of the majors did buy into it and maybe just got busted, caught up in a sting. My hope. Again, crypto is something it's another thing that's been politicized even on our side of the fence, right? Oh, well, all the way, all over the place, but a lot of people are very like, crypto's definitely how we gotta go. We gotta go that way, and no matter what. And there's a lot of us that are like, it sounds kind of weird. It's a thing that's not real. And you're telling me that they could just literally turn my money off overnight? That doesn't sound like a good idea. No, thank you. Like, that sounds fun, but you go for it. You go buy a bunch of crypto. Have a blast. So there's two sides of this. Don't know exactly where we're coming from, but yeah, this is a big deal. We'll see what all comes from that. HODG twins did something pretty fantastic here. They did some math for us, and I like math. Math's a fun thing. So we're talking about this new Tim Walz thing that he was doing in Minnesota. It said, today we announced $52 million in grants to expand broadband access to over 7,500 homes and businesses in Minnesota. Well, fortunately, the HODG twins, being the sharp guys that they are, they said, let's do some math. $52 million divided by 7,500 entities, let's call them. Well, that equals $6,933 per entity. Starlink, that's only $400 per entity. Where's the extra $6,500 going there, big guy, big walls? Where's that money going? Is that kind of like that $2.3 trillion that was missing from the Pentagon that Rumsfeld told us about the January 10th before the infamous plane crashes into the Twin Towers? Who knows? Oh, there's that face. I'll never forget that face. The White House and FEMA will deny this tomorrow if I'm tracking these happenings correctly. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, he confirmed on Thursday that FEMA will need more funds after responding to Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Mayorkas made this statement while answering questions from reporters at the White House press briefing on Thursday. He said FEMA has enough funds to address the immediate needs, but we need more money. This kind of just reboosting that story one extra day because it's going to get interesting, especially with all the crap that's going on, because they're trying to get Congress to come back to give them more money. This is the deep state trying to get more money. That's all this is. This is a grab at more money. And they're trying to use the storm as a reason. But what we're fighting for right now from an information war standpoint is you've already got gobs of money for all sorts of stuff. You're giving it over here to Lebanon. You're giving it over here. We're giving like $1 million grants to figure out if you can make a frog gay. We're doing all sorts of awesome stuff with money right now. So the question for a lot of us is, what the hell do you need more money for? You should have money. How'd you spend all your money? Oh, the thing where you're helping illegal immigrants that you've actually documented on your own website, that you've actually talked about. Karine Jean-Pierre is actually on camera. I'm assuming that's one of the things they're deleting off of archive. The archive site. The Internet Archive. This is the kind of stuff they got to get rid of because they contradict themselves constantly. They don't give a shit about the truth. All they care about is, what do I got to tell you right now? I don't care if you go look for shit. We'll delete that. It won't even matter. And then we'll somehow, do a Mandela effect or something, right? We'll throw one of them things at you, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, yeah, it's changed now. I mean, it's just crazy the shit that's happening. Fox News correctly reports the Labor Department on Thursday said the Consumer Price Index, a broad measure of how much everyday goods like gasoline, groceries, and rent cost, it rose 0.2% in September from the prior month and was up 2.4% from a year ago. This is a really, the most well-stated way of what inflation is. So right now, and what they're telling us, they're like, inflation's up 0.2%. Isn't that great? Because 2% is what we're going for. But what it is actually is compared to just a year ago, from 12 months ago, we're actually up 2.4%, meaning in 1 year's time, prices went up 2.4%, and they just went up another 0.2%. Inflation's still happening. It was supposed to be 0.1, which, again, a lot of people are like, but that's nothing, Dan. It's double what they said. It is not what they said. It's far from what they said. And again, this will be adjusted, I'm sure. Economists predict that inflation would slow to 2.3% on an annual basis with a rising of 0.1. Obviously, it went up 0.1 more. Again, a lot of people are like, but that's nothing. They've continually gone up inflation. And then when you look back year over year for the past 3-4 years, we've gone up like 10%, 12, 20%. Like we've gone up a bunch. Look at the prices and how much they've gone up. Something that used to cost $1, if it went up 20%, what's it cost now? An extra $1.20? Something cost $10, now it's an extra, what, $2? Now it's $12? That's a big difference. And that's akin to what we've been paying, right? It's a mess right now. This isn't supposed to be here. That's kind of funny. I'll put you over here for somewhere. You're supposed to be over here. I don't know what that was supposed to be. I know where it sort of belongs because that's funny as hell is what that is. But here's the thing, guys. The situation is not looking good. It's looking kind of grim for the system. I think a lot of us maybe realize or starting to realize that kind of almost probably should happen. Our system is messed up and needs to be adjusted. Get out of their system. Tax-free, penalty-free. If you're in an IRA or a 401k, you can get out of their system tax-free, penalty-free. You can do it quickly, too. And you can ask a lot of questions along the way, and they're going to actually give you awesome answers and great resources. There's a way to protect your wealth, your retirement. You spend years, right? Years you've been squirreling away money, only to have the deep state F with that. They've done it before, and it's going to happen again. We just don't know exactly when. They want to blame Trump. So far, it seems like most of the stuff they're trying to do is not working the way they want it. It seems like they're losing, which would imply to me, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. None of us know. But if they continue to be wrong, wouldn't it almost benefit the good guys or God or whoever's actually friggin' running this stupid movie right now? Wouldn't it benefit them to actually have the current administration take the fall and have it happen before elections? I don't know. We're seeing weird things. I've got an interesting example coming up, which should have probably been here, and maybe that's what it should have been. But there was an issue filming. Ooh, is that what it actually was? There was a Black Swan event. That probably is. Yeah, is this it? Yeah, this is it. Okay, that's why I put it here. Check this out. This is, I don't know. I don't know if this is fortuitous or what, but this is weird. You always heard of Black Swan events. That's an economic event. Check this out.
Meaning maybe the power poles or the power infrastructure in your street or your neighborhood, hey, it seems fine, but there's no power. Why? Remember the broader picture. That grid, that is the power grid, Alex, could have taken a major hit, and Alex will likely have taken a major hit.
Okay, can I just call out the fact that there's nothing, right? And then all of a sudden, like, where did this bird come from? He's not behind him. You kind of can see where he would have come from. But where the shit did this bird... And then all of a sudden, there's a white one over here and another black one. Boom, black swan. White swan. And there's another black swan somewhere. I thought there was two of them. But still, that's weird. They're putting this on TV during Milton. I mean, again, this is two major storms. This is billions and billions and billions of dollars of damage. We've given hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. Get out of their system, folks. DRS Likes Gold.com. DRS Likes Gold.com. Tax-free, penalty-free. Out of their system. 401k, IRA. Get out of their system. Do it as quick as you can. Goldco can make that happen. They had DocuSign, at least when I was doing it. I don't know if that's legal everywhere or how that works, but if it works in all cases, I bought precious metals from them. I got out of 401ks a long time. I just stopped doing it. I cashed out on one and took the hit. Didn't care. But not necessarily the way you have to go. You can do it tax-free, penalty-free, and shift it sideways. DRSLikesGold.com. DRSLikesGold.com. A whole bunch of you guys have been helped. The price of gold and silver has definitely been going up, but there's still a lot of room for growth, and not a lot of growth, it seems probably likely, in the whole stock thing. Dollar stocks, not good right now. Inflation's taking a bite out of your cash. So that equivalent of cash that your portfolio's worth, yeah, that's getting beat up every day. DRSLikesGold.com. DRSLikesGold.com. If you've got some precious metals, if you can get some precious metals, get some. It's definitely awesome. Go to DRSLikesGold.com. Get some precious metals as well. If you've got some cash, get rid of it. Because it's, well, not all of it. I mean, you need stuff to buy, groceries, right? You need to be able to put boards on your windows when you live in Florida, and You know, you probably got to put some sort of anti-alligator stuff around. So save money for the things you need money for. But if you got some extra cash lying around, I would consider getting some precious metals. It's a good way to hold on to value. The dollar's not. DRSLikesGold.com. DRSLikesGold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. All right, Milton. We got some Milton Bradley stuff going on here. So here is Biden. What was this? Did I get that right? Here is Biden. Yeah, here is Biden talking the same thing we played yesterday. That's why I'm not going to play the whole thing, because it's a lot of him being stupid. And then I'm going to play the last like minute plus because that's kind of funny. And it's just them making fun of him being stupid, which I found to be even extra funny. So again,
to the folks who have been impacted by Helene, this impact, and will be now impacted by Milton. Over the last few weeks, there's been a reckless and irresponsible and relentless promotion of disinformation and outright lies about what's going on. It's undermining confidence in the people in Florida, and incredible rescue and recovery work that has been undertaken.
So you get the point of where he's going to go for the next, like, I don't know, like 4 minutes, I think it was. Okay, a little more than about 4 minutes. Not bad. So we'll cut it right to the, just imagine all the stupid shit he said. Here's him finishing up his stupid shit.
I think that's important.
Can you say that Florida has everything it needs for the storm? How was your call with Netanyahu today?
We didn't talk about the storm.
Thanks for being here.
All right, so that was President Joe Biden updating the country on Category 3 Hurricane Milton barreling down on Florida. Said it's going to be historically destructive. He's pre-positioning assets in Florida, working well with Governor DeSantis there. And then went back to the exact same thing he said 3 hours ago, blaming Donald Trump for criticizing his response to the storm. Didn't really spell out what the criticisms were. We've already proven that he's lying about what Donald Trump has said. Kind of a frustrating end to that press conference. Dana Perino, what is he talking about?
Well, I think a couple things. One, they are smarting from having been slow to get to it on Hurricane Helene. And they're trying to make up for that. And again, that was a huge monster storm. And there was the direct hit, and then there was the after effect as it came up through the Appalachians and caused horrific damage. You have people who still don't have any access to any government help. They have no power. They have no water. It could be months before we actually know some of the full stories there. So I think they're trying to get ahead of this one, but also it just so happens that every election season happens to coincide with hurricane season. And unfortunately, there are times when you can be really criticized politically when it is unfair. And years later, Oprah can apologize to you on her show because she said things that weren't true at the time. And that can happen. But I think what's going on right now is that you have a president and a governor and DeSantis who are working very well together. You have a vice president who's like, but wait, me too. And there's just no time for that. And the media loves a story about any sort of misinformation. They're obsessed with it. And so those were the questions that you got there, not how many assets. Do we have enough? Will we have more? Are you calling Elon Musk? All of those things, none of those things were asked. It was only asked, why do you think? And that way, Biden can say 7 times, it's because Trump is un-American.
Yeah, and there's nothing un-American about criticizing your government. That's actually...
That is actually the most...
Actually in the First Amendment.
That's the most American thing you can do, especially when bad stuff is happening. That is your right. You're right. The media, again, who are they to ask about misinformation? They are the bugles of misinformation. And again, everything he said 3 hours ago, I'm convinced he doesn't remember he said it. It's incredible. He is actually amplifying misinformation by talking about this stuff. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. People are too busy. This is something that he is just railing on because it's all he's got. He's just pathetic. He's sad. He was doing okay for a minute.
This is one of those places where I'm going to just once again reiterate that bad information, there's no such thing as bad information. So we've got the deep state that's calling out a lot of the stuff that we're doing and name calling in the process. But what they are actually doing is highlighting what's happening. Whether that's because they're, again, trying to destroy it, and maybe that's just their own naivete, as they would say, or just being naive, or they're doing it on purpose. There's a lot of people that are questioning right now whether or not Joe Biden's actually trying to help the White Hats. Some people are like, wait, what? Huh, Dan? Come on. It's ridiculous. One, in order to save his family, he might be willing to play. And considering he was completely fed to the wolves, or thrown to the wolves, or whatever, he might be willing to bargain a little bit. So who knows? Again, I'm not talking real raw news like someone showed up at his house and threatened him, or he's already been taken to Gitmo, right? I'm not saying that. And I don't know if that's actually been on real raw news lately. I'm just thought it was a opportune moment to rip on them one more time. Just to remind people you should not trust anything you read on that website. It's ridiculous. That site is one of the worst. It's awesome. There's some great reading on there, but it's not true. To the great people of Florida, here's Donald Trump being presidential, unlike, we'll see, but Kamala.
Hello, Florida. This is President Donald J. Trump. Melania and I are praying for you as you face the aftermath of Hurricane Milton. We are deeply saddened by the devastation being reported, and it sounds like it's as bad as it gets. And we feel so sorry for you, and we want God to be with you, and we know God is with you. Our hearts go out to each and every one of you. To those who've lost so much, know that you are not alone. We've seen you stand tall against storms before, and you will stand tall now. And hopefully on January 20th, you're going to have somebody that's really going to help you and help you like never before, because help is on the way. Together, we will rebuild, we will recover, and we will come back stronger, bigger, better than ever before. Please keep your faith, hold strong, and look out for one another, because the sun will shine again over the beautiful Florida that we love so much. I live there also. We love it so much. You're in our thoughts, and together we will come back better than before. You're going to be better than before. And just keep your chin up, and God bless you all, and God bless the great state of Florida. Your governor is doing an excellent job. I've been talking to him and watching. Ron is doing a really good job. We're proud of him. And we're going to have something very, very special in the end. I think it's going to turn out a lot better than people thought. But this is a big one, so be very, very careful. Thank you very much.
I don't know. And I also think, by the way, we might have helped a little bit with our prayers, folks, because things weren't as bad as they were expected to be. But I don't know. Again, until the dust settles. Dude strapped his entire house down. Kind of crazy. I don't know if, better image of it. Literally, tie straps. You guys have seen these on trucks and shit. This is hilarious. Literally anchored some stuff into concrete on his ground. Literally ran tie straps across his entire house in order to keep it down. Either it down during the winds or down during the water. Either way, his house will still be there tomorrow. Was basically his thinking process. And likely is. Hurricane Milton downgraded to a Cat 3 as it actually made landfall. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference because it was still bringing in insane amounts of water. In fact, so much water. And by the way, this is one of those things, like when all the water goes out and you're at the beach, right? And you're at the beach, just for people that maybe don't, well, just for anybody, because even people that live by the water for a living don't really, we never see this. But if you do, you should freak out. If you ever see all the water sucked out, that's bad. That's very bad. You shouldn't stay at the edge there and talk about, hey, how weird that all the water went out. You notice that flippers out there flipping around? Like, no, get the shit away. If all the water went out, that means all the water's coming back at some point soon. Don't stay there. If all the water sucks out, get the fudge away from the location you're at. Needless to say, this is kind of crazy.
So this is Tampa Bay. Look at this. All the water has run out of the bay. We just walked over here. Luis is shooting. We're along Bayshore Boulevard. Hopefully you can hear me. The water is gone. So it has been sucked out by Milton, which we suspected was going to happen. Our light's not bright enough to see how far out it goes, but I don't see any far as I can see.
Your general intelligence is not bright enough for me to figure out how long you're going to live, but it's probably not far. That happens, get the fudge away from the water line. I'm probably going to cuss at some point more. I think I already did. Bunch of tornadoes happen, just to give you a couple examples of all of them. So yeah, that whole first part of the storm that hit was just like tornado ridden, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that was a new little thing, because that was like, I don't know, one of the first times it's the only time I can ever think of I've seen that, where a little like giant storm was in front of the storm, just like leading the way. Like, how weird is that? And everybody's going to be like, see, global warming. Nah, whatever. But crazy stuff's been going on with the sun lately, too. Also, not that that's, well, it is definitely involved, but the other side of it is we know that they mess with the weather. There's countless pieces of evidence to prove that. They've got patents. They've been doing this for years. They've got protocol and NOAA. This is just, there's just facts that are involved. So you can say whatever the hell you want to say. We know this is an information war. That's fine. They can have their misinformation. We'll have our misinformation. We'll see which misinformation wins in the end. That's all this is, folks. It's a misinformation war. Is your misinformation better than their misinformation? I hope so, because we got facts and all this other crazy stuff, and they got emotion. They're like, yeah, but it's like hot. Yeah, that doesn't mean that, polar ice caps are melting. It feels like it. Yeah, that's not how we do this. That's no, I'm sorry, ma'am. Watch out, because an alligator's about to eat your dog. You got to warn them, because they don't know. This happened, cops.
I'm St. Lucie County Sheriff Keith Pearson. Earlier, we were live putting the message out there because this threat is real. Right here at the Sheriff's Office, 4700 West Midway Road. About 10 minutes ago, a tornado came ripping through here. This is a devastating tornado. It took out that 10,000 square foot red iron building with all of our patrol cars underneath it. Thankfully, nobody was in there at the time. This thing came through and took this out within a moment. Stuff going. We hear the winds going. We're going to go ahead and step back and go back inside for some shelter. But again, if you're seeing this video and you're getting these warnings, take cover, take shelter. This is a real storm. This is a dangerous storm.
First off, just good on you for getting out there and showing it and demonstrating. And that's pretty crazy what happened because of tornadoes. And also, it's just funny also how when people are scared, all of us, I've been there before, your voice goes up like an octave as a dude. You just, you know what I mean? And everything that we're dealing with right now, yeah, it's pretty sketchy. A lot of things are happening right now. Like, it's just, you're in a very different space in your mind. So this dude normally probably is like, hey now, I just wanted to say, yeah, the building's back here, all busted up. And he's like, no, he sounds like Mike Tyson. Anyway, again, you guys, I can't be serious ever. It hurts me to do it. It hurts. They sent me here for that reason. This is, I think, karma. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to laugh ever. But here's Anderson Cooper. Gets smacked in the face with debris while covering the hurricane. It takes a little bit to get there, but whatever. The build-up's kind of worth it.
You can see it in the light there. It is now just ripping off the Manatee River. It's coming in from kind of the north, I guess, northeast, and the water now is really starting to pour over. If you look at the ground, whoa, okay, that wasn't good. We'll probably go
really?
Inside shortly, but you can see the amount of water here on the ground. This is water from the Manatee River. You can see it.
The water. So, again, it's Anderson Cooper. He's been molested, and he's probably totally somehow, like, inbred. So just go ahead and figure that all. That's got to be part of everything. Gets smacked in the face. Oh. I don't know if you saw the other people that have, like, helmets on at least, like stupid helmets, but helmets nonetheless. Like, it'd help. It'd be cool if they had, like, football helmets on, right? Like 222, right? Like, I don't know, whatever. Like, but this is not. This is stupid. This is dude seeing stars. It's Anderson Cooper. He's a retard. Hurricane winds caused the roof at Tropicana Field Stadium in St. Petersburg to be torn off. There's video of it. I guess we can play a little of it. I don't know if it's loud.
Breaking news, Hurricane Milton has made landfall, and it has made a dent. Look at this. We're taking a live look now at Tropicana Field. The roof ripped right off of the stadium there. And this is just what we're beginning to see as we're starting to really get a sense of the extent of the damage.
Pretty messed up, right? Pretty messed up. We don't need to play more of that. I'm going to waste plenty of time in this whole episode. Here is more Ron DeSantis action with Brett Brr. Though I will give Brett Brr credit because I dislike him a whole bunch, especially that Martha McCallum chick that he's hanging out with most of the time. But he does all right. He's been doing some good stuff lately. Like, I've seen a couple snippets. I mean, most of the shit's probably horrible, but I've seen a couple snippets, moments, Brett Brr, where you've actually been okay. Okay. So that's a step in the right direction. Keep doing that. Just more of it. Less of the stupid Brett Brr thing, and more of the good Brett Brr thing. And then we'll see where we get. It's possible. Anything's possible.
We've also talked to President Biden numerous times and federal officials. Wondering what you feel about this focus on misinformation and the comments about it. I know you heard Jackie Heinrich's piece about the president saying it was unpatriotic, it's un-American, and he said former President Trump was behind that.
So here's what I'd say. My job is to manage this process and lead the state through this. I am using every lever at my disposal, including federal government resources. I've marshaled all the agencies in the state government, and we're working like never before to supplement our local communities. I've got to get the job done, and that's what I'm focused on. Now, people have asked me about, is FEMA going to do this? Just let me be clear. In Florida, we run the show. FEMA's not running the show. We will utilize them to support some of the things we're doing, but you are not going to see FEMA running amok in Florida. I know that's been out there on the internet. That is not going to happen. I'm the sheriff that's in charge here, and we will make sure to protect you. Don't worry about it.
And I heard what you said about Vice President Harris and the phone call. Did she ever get through?
Brett, like I said, my job is to marshal resources and work with everybody to have an effective response. And she thinks it should be about her. If I honestly thought that there was something to be gained, I would pick up the phone and call her. The fact of the matter is she has no role in this process. She's not part of the chain of command. I am working with President Biden and FEMA and our state and local partners, and we're getting the job done. She has never been interested in any of the storms we've had in the state of Florida for her entire time as vice president. Now she's out there attacking me because I'm not catering to her whims. All she's trying to do is inject herself to be a part of her political campaign. I don't have time for political games. We've got a job to do. We got people's lives on the line, and that is our sole focus.
Well, most importantly, hopefully everyone gets through this okay. We're praying for your state. Governor, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, Brett Baer, for not being such a retard. It's nice. It's a nice change of pace. I mean, I don't know if you can keep it up, but that's awesome. Here is Stephen Colbert, and who's pointless, but Kamala, pointless. Also, many would say, Dan, why are you sharing this? You've told us don't. You're giving them extra light. Yeah, but sometimes it's worth it. Do you know the champagne of beers, by the way? Any of you guys remember? We're about to find out, because this is while people are dying in Florida while Milton is hitting. Here's Kamala Harris, because she couldn't get through with Ron DeSantis, so she needed to do something with her time.
Now, we asked ahead of time, because I can't just be giving a drink to the Vice President of the United States without asking. You asked for Miller High Life. You asked for High Life. Cheers.
Okay, cheers.
There you go. That tastes like the beautiful city of Milwaukee,
the
Wisconsin.
Champagne and beers.
There you go. You asked for High Life. Cheers.
Okay,
there
cheers.
You go. There you go.
Champagne and beers.
There you go.
Yeah. 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 Is that it's close? I'm working on my Kamala laugh. Yeah. Sounds like a barking seal, kind of. Yeah. No, I'm working on it. Meteorologists now tracking 2 more tropical storms over the Atlantic as Hurricane Milton barrels to Florida. You guys have heard of that storm? Yeah, well, it changed. Why is that? That was put there probably on accident. I don't. Why was that there? Why did you do that, Dan? Two more storms. That was the point of this. Yeah. So there's 2 more storms brewing in the Atlantic coming in at the same time while there's one going out, which they can't like, bump into each other and then create some superstorm. Well, who knows what the frick they're trying to do. But this, oddly, if they do bring Leslie, very gay, but Leslie, the lesbian, is coming in, and Milton's going out, and there's this other one that was there. I don't know if that was Leslie or if that was a different one. I think it was a different one. If they slammed into each other or something, but most likely things kind of tend to go up and out towards, it seems like a lot of them are kind of heading towards Spain / South England, but not quite making it all the way to England because you never know if they're angry or not, or if it's funny to them. So you can't tell. It's always my good friend. There's a Brit that I chat with often. It's just it's just funny. Americans don't understand Brits. Brits don't understand Americans. It's fun. Wow, is that not how it's spelled? Is that right? It doesn't look right. I feel like there's a letter missing or something. But Afghan accused of plotting a terror attack worked as CIA guard. I don't know why that looks weird to me. Is there 2 Fs? What is wrong with that word? It doesn't look right. Afghan accused of plotting terror attack worked as CIA guard. So this Afghan guy that they were about to bust, this is the second, remember the FBI busted another guy that they were actually trying to be a Trump assassin or something weird. They let him into the country. And this might be the same guy, by the way. So he was now apparently a CIA asset, and that's why they let him in on intelligence reasons. So a CIA asset from Afghanistan, or someone that works for the CIA in Afghanistan. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, calling him an asset, because maybe he's not worth anything. But he comes across the border. The FBI lets him because there's a chance he might kill Trump. Guy's like, nah, I don't really want to kill Trump. And they're like, really? You sure? You're triply sure? We'll give you an extra thing of tea or whatever they eat in Afghanistan. That's goat, whatever. I'll give you 2 goats. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they offer. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to. I think goat's actually not a bad way to go. If you're gonna try to score some sweetheart points with a Afghan family, maybe bring a goat or 10. I hear. I don't know. So this guy was brought in. He's FBI and the CIA were kind of tied in on this. Do we trust these guys at all? Should we? I mean, my guess is no. I mean, if you were to just ask me outright, I'd be like, well, probably not. We probably shouldn't trust them. I mean, it's just where I'm at initially. 25 governors demand answers on how many migrants have actually been flown to their states. They're like, dude, seriously, how many people have you flooded in my state? Do I need to literally hit up my voter registrar and see what you guys are doing? It's all been through this, well, not all, through the CBP app, and then there's the other thing where they flow them in. The one they're most concerned about, I forget the specific name of it, but it's the one where they come from like Cuba, Venezuela, like the 4 really, there it is, Cuba, Honduras, and Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Like those 4 countries. Like I try to say it, Cuba. I try to say it like, like they do. Like I'm trying. I probably fucked it all up, but whatever. Cuba, Honduras. They don't have H's. I don't know why they put them in words. It's like the British. They put letters that you don't pronounce. What's the point of a letter you don't pronounce? Doesn't belong. It should just be Honduras. Honduras. You don't need an H. No point. You guys don't really pronounce it. So, friggin' A. It's not worth it. Scrabble. Pull the H. It's like a 4. I think the H is like 4 points, isn't it? Fuck. All right, whatever. Probably going too far. Coming together. I was hoping to have more stories, but this one, this is apparently kind of it. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who's not a Trump fan, actually kind of came an Elon fan. I apologize, but same thing. It kind of came to the center with Elon. Elon's like, "Hey, I want to spend some money in your state," and he's like, "Oh, hey, Elon, sure, I'll have fun with your Oregon." And so, but he's like, "Well, look, politically, we didn't talk about politics. We didn't talk about politics. We don't agree with any of that." So he like made a point to say that, but he's like still. Made sure that he'd take some of Elon Musk's money and businesses and taxes and stuff. So Elon's playing the game that way too. Pennsylvania, do you want to get some of this money? Do you want a little bit of SpaceX action, or do you want a little bit of Tesla action? See? how the game's played, we got some good guys with major money doing future stuff. Tesla, probably the best battery car that's out there. Probably. I don't know for sure, but I think so. Also, like the solar I'm doing, the Tesla battery is the way I went. That's going to be the way to go, I think. Maybe someone can hack it and blow up my house. It's possible. That'll suck if it happens, but I love you guys if it does. Just remember everything I taught you and just, try to carry it on. Hopefully a bunch of you guys can emulate me if that ever happens, right? Otherwise, yeah, I'm not planning on going anywhere. Thomas and Elon, though, they were at Steelers game together and they called each other. There was a dude there that knew him. And he's like, hey, you should talk to Shapiro. So whatever, the call was put together. Kind of cool. I don't know. It's bringing people together, I think, to a degree. A bunch of election stuff. Fulton County judge on Wednesday dismissed a lawsuit from Georgia Democrats that sought to compel Governor Brian Kemp to hold ethics hearings on the conduct of MAGA-aligned members of the state election board. Again, there's that whole let's malign a whole group of people because they are, what do they call us, extremist right-wing or extremist MAGA or whatever. They just put extremist in the name. It's all extreme right-wing. It's just funny. This is just a stupid graph, and it really pisses me off, by the way, how they did this graph. This was, I think, a very poorly done graph. I don't know why. I guess they're representing the vertical number of people that are in these parties. I don't think it's accurate, though, from that standpoint. So I think they're trying to skew data. Whatever the case is, it's talking about the slide of the Democrats in general compared to the Republicans, and it basically demonstrates that the Democrats have overall slid a bunch over left further than the general right has moved. And so the overall average has actually still somewhat stayed centric, but it's, I think, shifted a tiny bit left. I think a lot of us have been stuck dealing with some things that maybe now we're like, I don't know, whatever. Like if you want to transgender yourself after you're 18, whatever, go to it, When maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, you'd be like, hell no, that should be against the law. And again, people should have the choice to fuck up their own body if they want to. I think kind of to a point. People get piercings and tattoos. No offense to anybody that's got those, right? But that kind of permanently sort of changes you, like, right? Just like a vaccine does. Propagandists around the world would keep trying to use ChatGPT, according to OpenAI report. They're trying to make it sound like, hey, don't worry, we're looking out for you guys. Anybody that tries to use ChatGPT for malicious stuff, we're on it. I don't believe them for a second. NBC's posting this horse shit story. So just going to say, anybody out there that thinks that ChatGPT is actually being moderated by any sort of purity or safety for mankind or evenness, I don't know, whatever the right word is. Yeah, that ain't friggin' happening. Not even close. Not even trying. Cuba's interfering in the 2024 down-ticket races to bolster pro-communist candidates. Part of me wants to believe this, but I know Cuba's a poor-ass country, so fucking no way they're doing this. China's doing this. Why won't we say China's doing this? Because Breitbart News has China inside their butthole. And Cuba can't afford this. Remember, they're telling us horse shit. Thank you, Breitbart. You guys are piles of trash. Continue your crap work. I'll probably still talk about it because it's fun. Presidential election cycle is just getting to the point where political conflict could mutate into constitutional cases. So the Supreme Court's kind of getting ready. They're talking about a few different places where they can come at this. 3 paths, they're saying, though. And I don't know. Whatever. We'll let you guys decide your own feelings on this. But the first path lies through a challenge to a state court's ruling on state election law. Supreme Court ordinarily hears only federal law cases. So first path kind of sounds like not necessarily going to happen because usually the Supreme Court doesn't get involved in the state's problem. State Supreme Court, totally. But Supreme Court? No, man. The one with guacamole and sour cream? No. And olives? I think they throw those on there too. A second path for the court opens after votes are cast. After a state's winner is declared, a slate of electors must then be certified by each state before the Electoral College convenes to formally anoint the next president. What happens, however, if a state fails to submit its slate to Congress on time? That would be a possibility. Third path to the court opens up after a joint session of Congress has convened to bless the Electoral College tally. It is the least likely to unfold, perhaps happily, because it would also be the most explosive. So yeah, after Congress has convened to bless the electoral, then to have the courts get involved. So again, how this plays out, we know they're going to cheat. There's no question about it. We already know no matter what, both sides aren't going to accept the election. That's really what matters. What also equally matters and is super important is for all of us. So I don't know. I think it's hard to like make this case to a lot of people because a lot of people are like, so if my vote doesn't really matter, then why go vote? Why is that such a big deal if they're going to cheat? And it's like, well, no, your vote way matters. Yes, they're going to cheat. But you physically need to own that ID, that voter registration, that person. That has to be you. Karmically and everything else, it has to be you. Legally, it has to be you that makes a vote in your name so nobody can take your name and use it against the rest of us. You have to own your name this time. You have to. That's why it matters. Texas AG Ken Paxton and the Secretary of State are clashing over these crazy new election laws. Ken Paxton's going out of his mind trying to stop the craziness that's happening in Texas, and the Secretary of State seems to be going full bore to try to help the deep state take Texas away. Texas, y'all, like, I think get a little comfortable when you're eating your tacos, right? And you're just like, oh man, life's good. I got my cowboy boots up on the desk. I'm eating some taco right now at lunchtime. But you got some craziness going on in that place called Austin. So be mindful. And you've got a bunch of, Dallas and all these other places that are all jacked up. What's going on? What is going on? We got arrest records and green cards that are proving the Arizona Democrat Senate candidate Ruben Gallegos. His father trafficked marijuana and cocaine for the Mexican cartels in Chicago. Makes his dad a criminal. I don't know if that's, just he comes from a criminal background. Would make sense that he would gravitate towards Congress, right? That seems to be where the criminals like to go. Verizon was down for a lot of users across the U.S. I was having an internet problem with DirecTV today or Direct, whatever it is, AT&T, I guess, for a little bit. And that was kind of a weird thing. It was affecting my normal job, too. I was like, crap. And someone asked me to do something, and I'm like, where the fuck's my internet? I lost it everywhere. It was a trip. And it was oddly after I was just looking into this Archive Hack thing. It was like the second I opened that, everything, it was just probably a coincidence, I'm sure. Microsoft suffers an outage as well today. So I don't know. Something keeps happening all over the place. Be mindful. They are messing with a lot. Oh, and the one of the things, the places that this outage, I think this was the story. The places, yeah, here it is again. Just interesting. Los Angeles, New York, Dallas, and Phoenix. These were where Verizon went down. Los Angeles, New York, Dallas, Phoenix. Think of those towns. Think of voting machines. Think of, I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff, but it's the specific cities that keep tripping me out because a lot of the outages have been in these cities. Why? Very weird. And I don't know. I feel like I'm probably leaning in the white hat direction. But, I don't know. I don't think this one spelled it out as much with Microsoft. I think it was just worldwide. 90,000 users. Again, whatever. Pet Club. Dude, these guys are awesome. You got a pet. You got health in yourself. I just took mine today. I was really proud of myself. Oh, yeah, got to take these before we start our show, especially. But danradiostyle.petclub247.com. We got reviews. We got research. We got... there's a rewards program too, by the way. If you really, really fall in love with this product like I have, you might actually want here's the thing. There's a way you can set it up where you get a discount that's equivalent to $150 a month, basically. And so if that ever makes sense, there's actually some perks to doing that. So that's the whole rewards thing. You guys can use my Dan Radio Style to help with that for sure. And that helps me as well. Thank you. But for shopping, for people that don't want to necessarily get $150 worth of stuff a month, then if you're, because you get like a 10% discount, which I think is basically, it costs $15 a month for the web fee. That's basically why I'm saying $150 a month. Then it makes sense because you can actually help yourself at that point, or even get neighbors to buy stuff too. And then it helps you as well. But this Coriolis versicolor, it's a mushroom. It actually helps your immune system enormously. There's all sorts of studies that have over 400 that demonstrate this. We've got a lot of different people that have actually talked about their experiences with their pets, where they started this treat. In the case of dogs, a lot of times it's mush puppies. They're very cheap. They're like $20-ish, right? $20, you can actually start giving your dog a thing every day that's got this Coriolis versicolor mushroom in it, and see if you notice a difference with cysts, with it's got problems with its teeth. Maybe it's got stinky breath. By the way, we have mutt mints. Might be a better way to go if your dog's got bad breath. But issues with the coat, issues, anything immune related, cancer, believe it or not. Now you might want to go a little heavier than just one thing a day. Maybe there's the super sauce you can add to the food every day so they'll eat it, because it's kind of like a gravy. Maybe they're not feeling real good and you want to make sure you're getting more of that stuff in there to help their immune system. Again, a lot of these things can help. They've got a lot of great foods. The Mojos they've got for cats and dogs. This is kind of the way you can give that to cats. Easy way as a treat. It's a piece of liver or whatever, and it's real food. It's not fake food. It's like not liver flavored. It's liver with Coriolis versicolor on it. So your cat's going to love it, and it's a way to get that inside your cat, and your cat's going to be stoked. They've actually got horses versions too, mush ponies, and they've got a whole bunch of stuff for humans. They've got great products. I got a number of people that are on the ill side of thing. I got a guy that's stage 4 cancer that started these treatments. We know another lady that's a friend of mine emailed him and started talking about all the stuff she's taking right now and the benefits she's seeing in the morning. And she's got a lot of chronic immune issues, and she's seeing a huge benefit. So there's a lot to be said. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Look into the health of the people you love. Yourself should be on that list. A lot of us don't do that way, but look at yourself too. Make sure we're taking care of ourselves the best we can. And this is actually literally removing some of the immune problems we have. There's a lot of different things. Just look at some of the research. Look at some of the information. You'll be amazed. Try them out, and they're not that expensive. It's one of those things where you can try it and find out, and you'll be like, this seems to be making a difference. I started sleeping better. I've just noticed like a better gut balance going on. It's kind of strange. I've just noticed some things in my body when I take these versus when I forget to, and it happens. But again, been very helpful. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. And you can take care of yourself on that, hopefully. This was powerful. Dude explaining the appellate court, their decision, I think, or how the course of the case was playing out. It seemed like he was paying attention. And this is the one where Trump overvalued his property, right? This dude nails it, and it's really good. I think it's way worth the time. So check this out. This is awesome.
So the Trump fraud case went before the appellate court this week, and by the time it was over, the closing arguments of the Democrat lawyers was just them begging to not get sanctioned. So look, many people aren't aware that the Trump fraud case went before the appeals court this week. And if you don't know how an appeals court works, there are 5 judges that sit in judgment for these cases. And they basically let the prosecution and the defense both lay out their cases. And their job is to consider whether or not the case was worth hearing in the first place. And it went so badly for the Democrat lawyers that by the end of it, their closing arguments was just them begging to not get sanctioned. So they argued a ton of different things throughout this case. But the biggest thing was the judges kept interrupting them. They kept saying, hold on. Can you find me one other time in history where the person who took the loan was able to call the bank that they took the loan from, and then that bank showed up and said, we weren't defrauded? And the lawyers spent like 2 hours trying to find one little instance where it happened. But then the judges said, okay, let's try something else. They said, hey, have you ever prosecuted someone for lying about the value of a property when it resulted in the entire loan being paid back with interest? And again, they gave them like 2 hours to try to explain their case, and they still couldn't produce a single case where that had happened. And then the judges said, hey, you know what? We'll give you another shot. They said, have you ever seen an attorney general prosecute a case where there was no damage to the public? There was no damage to the person you said was defrauded, and there was no actual malice committed by the person who took the loan. And then they took another like 6 hours on that one. And by the end of it, the judges were like, so you don't have any instance of that happening. And then by the time they were done, the judges were like, I don't even know if this is a case that should have been brought. And they said, look, y'all might need to be sanctioned for bringing this case in a malicious manner. One of the judges actually said, I have come to believe that since a case like this has never been brought in the history of the country, not only New York, that you have only brought this case because the person was running for president, which would put you afoul of not only multiple regulations regarding the law, but would also run you afoul of electioneering interference. In fact, at the end of it, when they got to give their closing arguments, instead of arguing the value of their case, instead of arguing that like we should have been able to bring this case because of X and Y and all this shit, they actually just said at the end, we hope that the court will take into account that lawyers need to be able to bring cases like this without the threat of sanction. Basically, they were saying, we hope that you decide that we're not going to get in trouble for bringing this bullshit case. That was what happened at the appellate court. So Trump being found guilty of fraud and having to pay 500 some odd million fucking dollars, and the whole left celebrating about that, he's going to get all that money back because the appellate court was like, this is a bullshit case. The people he took the loan from literally came to court on his behalf and said, hey, we weren't defrauded. We knew he overvalued Mar-a-Lago, and we took that into our calculations. And even if we had taken that into our calculations, and the value of Mar-a-Lago was part of 0.14. Like the president of Deutsche Bank said, you know why we gave him the loan? It had nothing to do with the value of Mar-a-Lago. It had to do with we given him 21 other loans, and he has paid back all 21 with interest. We were giving him the loan regardless of the value of anything. And that's where the appellate court was like, how do you have a case? Deutsche Bank literally said we were giving him the loan regardless. And that's when they start begging to not get sanctioned. So yeah, that's what happened with the Trump fraud case this week. Going really well for the Democrats.
Important to realize, too, is they're pleading to be allowed to do lawfare. And I'm very curious to see how the judges respond to that. This will be interesting. I don't know if this gets appealed further because they want the Supreme Court to rule on whether this kind of stuff can happen again, because that's really a big part of this. Obviously, this lawfare thing is ridiculous, but this is setting a precedent for how you can't do that. Here's Trump coming into New York. I don't know where Long Island is. I know that's Manhattan, right? So I don't know. That's Mile Square Park. It's giant. How big is it? Like, it's more than a square, right? Obviously, it's a rectangle, so that's, hello. I paid attention in school. Anyway, very cool. We don't need to waste all the time. There's great music in the background with Long Island somewhere. I don't. Where would that be? Is that off to the left? Anyway, I'm curious how that would be. It doesn't matter. We got a lot of stuff going on, that's for sure. Donald Trump said, I won the last two debates. Oh, so just before we preface this, I don't think I pulled the story. CNN is offering to do a debate. Fox has already offered to do a debate. Or CNN's wants to do a town hall. I think I have that story. But there is another debate that was offered up somewhere. I think it was Fox. And so he's just like responding to that. He's like, no, I'm not doing a debate. So he goes, I won the last two debates. One with Crooked Joe, the other with Lion Kamala. Our comrade, as we like to call her. I accepted the Fox News invitation to debate Kamala on September 4th, but she turned it down. J.D. Vance easily won his debate with tampon Tim Walz, who called himself a knucklehead. I'm also leading in the polls, with the lead getting bigger by the day, and leading in all swing states. The first thing a prize fighter does when he loses a fight is say that he demands a rematch. It is very late in the process. Voting has already begun. There will be no rematch. Besides, Kamala stated clearly yesterday that she would not do anything different than Joe Biden. So there is nothing to debate. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump. And those words are going to bite Kamala permanently. She effed up hard. She wasn't ready for that question. And The View accidentally screwed her. That was bad. Trump calls the rebid all broadcast licenses to fight bias amongst the 60-minute editing scandal. I guess there's a bidding for the FCC, and when you're a news organization, you get this special like score or bid that implies that you're somehow legitimate. And he's like, that needs to be taken away from them. I didn't actually know that existed. As much as I was kind of surprised. I was like, holy crap, really? I didn't know that. And I'm not surprised that they don't make that public. But specific companies herald this beautiful access, I guess, for lack of it, or whatever, or rights that come with this special FCC thing. And Trump's like, nah, it needs to take it away. These guys don't deserve it. They lied. They lie. They're not even honest. They lie. And they didn't do it for the sake of time at all. In fact, I think the interview ran short. 60 Minutes, this is Donald Trump posting this, truthing this. 60 Minutes is a major part of the news organization of CBS, which has just created the greatest fraud in broadcast history. CBS should lose its license, and it should be bid out of the highest bidder, as should all other broadcast licenses, because they are just as corrupt as CBS, and maybe even worse. Yeah, CBS, ABC for sure, those two really bad. NBC definitely sucks bad. Again, CNN, Fox, they may make it. We'll see. We'll see. CNN offers the host a live town hall with Trump and Harris at the same time. Want to do a town hall. That's a debate. Except the public gets to ask questions. Now, I don't know. Maybe Trump would do that because if the contract's groovy, if not, Trump's just going to say, no, we've already done the thing. I'll do an event right next to your place, and I will just bury you with Trump supporters. So no, I'm not going to do it unless they do it somewhat fair. And in which case, Trump will bury Kamala. If regular people just to get to ask questions that she can't necessarily prepare for in advance, she's going to get annihilated. She'll get broken. Trump plans rallies in solidly Democratic states and an unorthodox strategy, they say, says NBC. Unorthodox. He's going into the bluest of blue, going straight into the lion's den and packing the house just to demonstrate to everybody how many supporters there are. He's not bussing people in like Kamala either, by the way. No. So he's going in Colorado, California, Illinois, New York. I'll be honest, there's no way in hell I'd ever go to I'm going to something where Trump might show up, or at least they're going to video him in, I'm fearing. But if he shows up, that'll be super red. But it's a very small venue. Got invited to a special thing. That's pretty cool. There's no way I'd go. I'd never stand in line. Sorry. I couldn't. I hate crowds. I couldn't do it. It'd be insane. No way. I couldn't. You guys, I mean, it's up to you. I watched it on TV. That's good enough. That counts, by the way, I think. Having people there on the ground, though, so huge. Karine Jean-Pierre is asked if the White House has been in touch with social media companies regarding misinformation about Hurricane Milton and relief efforts. With a straight face, the habitual liar actually talks about how the private companies, so we don't tell them what to do. Oh, right? They'll tell them to silence people because of misinformation. But in regards to Hurricane Milton, no, we don't. Private companies. She's amazing. I mean, I can see why she got promoted. She sucks. I mean, again, I've said before, she's got the hardest job on the planet. But NATO bosses are saying, yo, stop worrying about Trump. Stop all this Trump talk. NATO's still going to be there after Trump comes into play. And maybe, but Trump's going to withdraw from NATO, and NATO's not really going to be able to afford NATO. So I think NATO boss is wrong. I think NATO boss is just saying this because he wants to pretend that he's powerful. But NATO's going to collapse because this is really the linchpin with Ukraine in general, is that it wants to be part of NATO, and NATO's this bigger thing that's expanded way beyond what it should have when, basically Russia was negotiating with the United States in good faith to not expand NATO, and yet NATO expanded greatly. So this is not going to play out the way the deep state wants, but they're trying. They're trying to put their spin on it. It's beautiful that way. Oh, this is fun. This is the Mayor Adams, as Mayor Adams' press secretary and acting deputy commissioner at a New York City Department of Correction is harassing and assaulting a community leader, Dr. Miriam Sine, at Gracie Mansion yesterday. Literally, this chick tries to get her phone, tries to get in her face, throws her phone, and security actually takes her out. This chick is actually a government official in New York, part of that group that's being taken down right now, it seems. Yeah, the only reason I watched it this far is I keep hoping that she's going to take someone's clothes off, but it never happens. It's really disappointing. But yeah, she chucked her phone. Again, one, it just made me hungry. I want, and it's Cuban. Do you guys have chips and salsa in Cuba, or do you guys do that differently than like a Mexican restaurant? I don't know if you guys have like a slightly similar version, but oh man, I want chips and salsa now. Dadgummit. Some could say that's racist. I don't think so. The music sounded Hispanic to me, and it made me think of yummy food. So there you go. Ukraine is now talking, we want peace. We want peace. We won't accept the new boundaries where Russia's taken over parts of our territory. We're not going to accept that. But we want peace. We want a ceasefire. What this is an opportunity for the deep state to try to stall so they could try to figure out a way to build up forces again and then attack Russia at some other point. And Russia's kind of like, I don't know. We've never really seen any signals, if you will, from Ukraine that suggesting that it's ready for a ceasefire. So what I think Russia's kind of saying is like, no, we're going to keep the sections that we got. When you're ready to talk about that, because you keep shelling your, quote, own people, and they did, shelling their own people because they didn't want to be part of Ukraine. And they've also messed with the church there, too, big time. So, again, the Ukrainian government is very much trying to go into this very communist kind of China-centric sort of like U.S. is trying to do to us. And Russia's like, no. And the Russian people that don't want to be a part of that, we've just freed them, and we're not letting you have them. And there's no way we're doing a ceasefire based off of what you're talking about. So they're not necessarily making inroads, but it sounds that Zelensky is at least, quote, opening up to the idea. China sought its own deal to avoid Houthi rebel ship attacks. U.S. is like, you need to come in and be part of this coalition that protects these ships. It's the deep state movement. And China, well, some could say it's siding with the other side, but definitely not siding with the U.S. And again, I don't know. Multipolar world is happening. The United States, the deep state portion of it is falling, and that's what we see a lot of in the news. And so this, I think, in a weird way, is actually a step in the right direction. As crazy as that sounds, a lot of people are like, damn, that's crazy. I actually think if Xi is actually getting control of the CCP, he had one dude killed that was a major member in the CCP. There's a while back we talked about that, but other stuff's happened there. There's stuff that's happening in China. So I don't know. It's a very iron curtain that's hard to get around. It used to be Russia. It's not as much anymore. Putin makes a lot of sense. We hear about it all the time. I don't know. We'll see. Sean Diddy, or Diddler, as we're calling him, Sean Diddy Combs, demanding investigators turn over all the evidence they got. And they're like, give it up. Let's go to court. I want to have a quick court case. So he's shooting for a swift set of court cases that it's going to benefit him in this case because it gives the prosecutors less time to come up with information to be against him, right? If this drags out like they want it to, because there's so many people that keep calling the hotline. So Diddy's trying to push the thing forward. We'll see what happens. He's also, I guess, borrowing a page from New York City Mayor Eric Adams' legal playbook. He's accusing the feds of leaking secrets about his bombshell sex trafficking case to the media. Well, Trump's done this too, by the way, because they keep leaking stuff. So whatever the case is, this is happening to them now too. It's funny, the double standard that continues to exist. You gotta love it. It's a beautiful place. Michael Schellenberger, this is actually pretty cool. He's talking about the current CIA director, Bill Burns, I think it is, and how he's been to Epstein's apartment and stuff.
We have free speech as an inalienable right from God or from our creator, or just something that we're saying that we have. And then you make a government based on speech. So this Orwellian idea that we hear, including, tragically from Barack Obama and now his two secretaries of state, John Kerry and Hillary Clinton, and Bill Gates, they're saying we have to have censorship to protect democracy. It's like the most Orwellian, un-American idea. It's anathema.
How is Bill Gates in this conversation at all? That's what's confusing. A non-elected official who just owned a software company.
My colleagues don't want me to talk about. Don't be conspiratorial about this. There's other explanations for
Well, we've
it.
already talked about George Soros. The fact the FCC fast-tracked him purchasing 200 different radio stations.
I mean, that's kind of run-of-the-mill corruption. With Gates, you get into Epstein, right? So
yeah.
So I'm not saying this is the reason, but I mean, it is like, this is not a theory. The current CIA director, Bill Burns, was at Epstein's apartment multiple times. Bill Gates was there. I believe last time I checked, nobody knows how many times actually Bill Gates was with Jeffrey Epstein. He went out and did this, he did this PBS interview where he just looks guilty the whole time and is defensive, talking about Epstein.
Is that with that woman where when he says, well, he's dead now.
He said,
so be careful. Which is just the wildest thing to say.
It's weird that, you're like, that's what he was thinking. When she was like, he's basically like, why are you going on and on about it? He's dead. It's like, well, we weren't talking about him. We were talking about you and your relationship with him.
Right.
So, I mean, look, so obviously there was a sex blackmail operation. I mean, I'm 95% on it. I think the Wall Street Journal reporters who did fantastic reporting on this are probably 99%. That was a sex blackmail operation.
Mm-hmm.
They were shooting film. There were one-way mirrors. They were entrapping people. There's known connections to Mossad, and I just don't believe that Mossad operates in the United States without.
Yeah. And he's on the money. He's nailing it, right? Like, there is a huge... That's awesome. This is, by the way, if you can hear this is Gardner in the background doing his this thing. I wanted to put a CD together at one point when I was younger, The Sounds of California, and it was going to be like this and like trash trucks and like backing up of trucks, that beep, beep, beep. It'd just be a CD full of those like gardeners making weed eater noises. Like, that's California. The sounds of California. Come to this great state. Be a part of it. Pay super high taxes. Hate every moment of it. I don't know why I'm sort of sounded Scottish or like that. What's that actor? No, probably not as good. Whatever. Ethel Kennedy, we talked about her being like ill or whatever, stroking out yesterday, and I feel bad. I mean, she's 96 though. She lived a full life, and I really feel like it's at some point you're going to die. I think it's a pretty solid chance. 100% of everybody so far in life has died. So yeah, that's like almost a guarantee. Just saying. But yeah, she died. She did pass away. Very sad. This former widow of Senator Robert F. Kennedy has passed away. Not Junior, of course. That would be creepy. But yeah, it's very sad. So it's like kind of that last bastion, if you will. And again, I just want to remind you guys, and I want to play the video on the way out for those of you that actually show up in the picture. I think you guys will. We'll do that next time. We'll do that next time. But truththread.shop, there's just a great way to support the channel. You can get the message out. You can wear the message, support the message. Also, I've partnered with a family that's like printing them ourselves. Like we're doing this kind of in a cool way. So helping them as well, coming together. And where the partnership really starts, and it's kind of fun, is she's got a lot of really cool ideas of stuff. And like 9/11, Never Forget is a great example, right? Like we should never forget. And there's a bunch of information that comes on the back. Never forget what happened. how the towers fell, how they shouldn't have, just so many things. Different colors, different ways you can get all this stuff. You can get t-shirts, long sleeves, short sleeves, tank tops. They got all sorts of stuff. So we've got of course, Dan Radio Style, all those same like hoodies and all that crap. It's all the same basic stuff. The hat's unique. That's only me. But 9/11 maybe. That'd be cool. We can figure out a 9/11 Dan Radio Style hat maybe one day. That'd be fun. We've also got the shooting, right? The 611s, Ephesians, put on your armor of God. We've got a whole slew of those, as well as the original 5G warfare, which we're all doing. So go truththread.shop. That's truththread.shop. Make sure you got yourself sporting. And do us a favor. You're going to get an email when the whole sale thing goes through. When you can, if you don't mind, like save that email and send us a picture of you with your merch, wearing it, and it'll be, and we'll use it on the air, so you guys can be a part of the public side of this, showing you don't have to show your face if you're worried about it, so don't worry about that. And if shirt works. Take a shot without your face in it. Don't sweat it. They're not going to recognize you by your torso unless you've got a really bizarre looking torso. Then yeah, don't do it. Do like what a friend did one time, and she put it on her horse. Hope she's getting this mush ponies, by the way. All said, a great way to help the channel. Truththread.shop. That's truththread.shop. Folks, we're nearing a big moment in this, and I'm still up in the air on how I feel about the election. Not like it matters. Don't trust what I say, but I'm still very up in the air on the election. I know they want to cheat. I know they're going to cheat. I know that's going to happen. I think we've actually headed them off in a bunch of places. Not all, but a bunch. And I think they're freaking out now. So I don't know. I'm ready for like the weird, like, you're in a boxing match and I'm waiting for the foot to come up because they're going to try to kick me now. And it's like, you can't kick in boxing. And it's like, I know, but they're about to. They don't care about rules. So just be ready. Be prepared. Be ready to help those around you. Get that life preserver, that the lifesaver, as they say, all right? Have that ready for others. Because that's what we're here to do. You and me. We're here to save and help others. Be ready. The time is now. The storm, if it's not here yet, it's so close to being here, like it doesn't matter. It's sprinkling. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.